Every medical science is rooted in a culture or a civilization from which it arose. Siddha Vaidya is rooted in ancient Dravidian culture and civilization. Medical sciences do not stand unattached. Medical sciences are attached to mathematics, to physics, chemistry, biology, and philosophy of the culture from which it arose. In Siddha Vaidya, also known as Chitta Vaidyam, in its original language of Tamil, Chitta Vaidyam is rooted in the cosmology, in the worldview, in what people thought at that time as their physics, is rooted in their chemistry, which was alchemy. It is rooted in biological knowledge of that culture, which collected more than 6,500 different plants for primarily medical purposes. At the same time, it is also rooted in literature, so much so that every Siddha physician, every Siddha doctor has to know literature, has to know Tamil poetry, should be able to explain the hidden information expressed in poetry, since all information regarding Siddha Vaidya was written in two-lined couplets, which went into many paragraphs, pages, and even books. Usually when books are written, the books are called after the person who wrote the book, and it usually will say the number of couplets in that book, enclosed by that book. So, for example, Boger, the great sage of Siddha sciences, one of the 18 great teachers, wrote many books, and it will always be called Boger, followed by the number of couplets, Boger 700, or for example, Boger 7,000, Boger 1,000, Boger 1,500, and so on. Literature was intricately and intimately linked with the knowledge of sciences, and sciences were written in poetry, in a literary language, which also was a language of coding and compression. In today's computer science, we use compression algorithms to compress a big chunk of information into something that is easier to handle. Similarly, a whole paragraph of information could be expressed in a few words if you know exactly what it meant. I can give you a good example. In one of the literatures on Siddha medicine, my teacher found one of the formulas, and one of the ingredients in the formula is Avara 5. Being a young man, my teacher was looking for 5 different types of Avara. Only later he realized that Avara 5 meant that it is looking for 5 different aspects of the plant called Avara. Previously, he inquired from other people what the 5 varieties of Avara are. Previously, he was looking for the 5 varieties of Avara plants. But when he realized that it all belonged to the same plant, since he could only find one plant called Avara, he realized that it is the 5 different parts of the same plant: root, stem, leaf, flowers, seeds. But this also comes in a proportion. The roots represent earth, the stem represents water, leaves represent fire, flower represents air, and seeds represent space. And each of these components should be taken in a proportion that is proportionate to the elements in the universe, the five elements that constitute this universe. So, this was to illustrate the fact that poetry used to be the language of compression. Also, poetry was written in double meanings. Sometimes two or three words may have different meanings. So, there will be a literal meaning that everybody will understand by just reading it, but there could be hidden meanings. A good example will be, I don't know how good an example it is, but an example will be alchemy. When we talk about alchemy, it generally means the conversion of base metals into gold. But at the same time, alchemy means medical alchemy. It helps a mortal life to be everlasting life. It could also be spiritual alchemy. It's a process by which a person becomes enlightened. So there are three meanings for alchemy in one word. Going back to where I started, literature is very important to express all information, including medical knowledge. For poetry and literature to express knowledge, including medical knowledge and scientific knowledge, there needed to be some kind of standardization. But as we know, even the same language spoken in slightly different tones varies in content and meaning. The standardization needed to be applied all over a civilization so that scientific information is expressed everywhere in the same manner. The Indus Valley people from whom the Tamils evolved were very high on standardization. They standardized town plannings, they standardized house planning, they standardized road planning, they had standardized even the size of bricks used in over almost close to 1 million square kilometer area where the main civilizations and their satellite civilizations flourished. In all these places, they had the same type of bricks, of the same standardized size of bricks. So it is no wonder that the daughter civilization from the Indus, as we speak about the Tamil civilization, they also were high on standardization. Historically, we think that Tamil history, which goes deep into the Indus Valley and beyond, were there for 17,000 years. And it is no wonder that during the 17,000 years, different types of standardization committees existed at different time periods. In Siddha literature, in Siddha medicine, we talk about three different conferences, three different associations, which spread over three time periods. We call it the first Sangam, the second Sangam, and third Sangam. Sangam means an association, an organized association with legal framework and jurisdiction over many areas. And the first Sangam lasted, according to our history, it lasted for 4,400 years. In the first Sangam, there were 549 poets, literary giants, who debated and organized and set rules on grammar, on language structure, scientific words, etc. Unfortunately, no books survived from that period that we know of now. The second Sangam, or the second literary group, the organization, the association that came after the first one, lasted for 3,700 years. And the number of poets and literary giants that were part of that Sangam was 1,700. And we know of at least one book that survived from that period, and that book is called Tolkappiyam. And the author of the book is Tolkappir. So the book is named after the author. And the third literary Sangam, the third association, lasted for 1,850 years. And all the books that we know of today in Siddha literature, Siddha sciences, science of pulse, science of energy, circulation in the body, sciences of rhythms of nature and human rhythms, and many other streams and schools of information. All of those came from the last Sangam. The first Sangam is supposed to be held at Madurai, the great town of Madurai, which was historical, and it is supposed to have been submerged by the sea. Think about it. When we add the years together, it almost goes to the Ice Age. And once the Ice Age came to an end, when ice melted, the global sea level arose. And historically, this could be true, that the old Madurai was submerged by the ocean. That Sangam, the first Sangam, which got submerged at Madurai, is supposed to have included some of the Hindu gods, Perumal, Kubera, Murugan, and the great teacher Agastya, who is supposed to be the father of Siddha Vaidya medicine. The location of the third Sangam still exists, and it is supposed to be held at the Madurai Meenakshi temple. What is the importance of these Sangams? They were the light that brought many information streams, knowledge streams together, paved way for standardizations in literature. Even now, we have many of the sciences intact without much damage, in spite of the various invasions and cultural invasions, not only physical invasion but also cultural invasion. In spite of all those, many of these knowledge streams and sciences still survive in India and is still accessible and available to us, thanks to the great Sangams that did all the work before us. And all the great teachers of Siddha medicine were all part of the Tamil Sangams. So the Siddha Vaidya teachers were not only doctors but also literary giants that contributed to many other fine arts and knowledge streams. I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.